What's up, everyone? It's your lady, Pretty Woman Speaks, also known as Amy7th. I thank you all for joining me in the relaunch of Amy7th. It's been 2 years since I dropped the episode. Of course, there's been a lot that has happened, and each week we're going to unpack and unfold exactly what happens in people's lives when things go left. Of course, that's what all Amy7th is about, is evolving through trauma, evolving through tragedy. And joining me is Tanisha Coleman. She's an Army vet turned life and financial coach. She specializes in not only securing her legacy, but helping women secure theirs too, with an emphasis in helping Black women, becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And we already know that when Black women is happier, healthier, and wealthier, that reflects in the world as well. And Tanisha, the founder of the Sisters Coach in 2021, thank you for joining me. Thank you, audience. Please welcome her in. Please let me know, Tanisha, exactly what does a Black woman look like when she's happier, healthier, and wealthier?
She looks like straight up power. She looks like straight up power. She looks like she can bring a king to his knees and a saint to madness.
That's
She's happier, healthier, and wealthier. She is straight up power.
She is straight up power. And so go ahead.
Like Alexander McQueen said, I want people afraid of the woman I dress.
And why should anyone be afraid of a woman when she's self-actualized?
Because we live in a world that really wants women to think low of themselves. We live in a world that wants women to be oppressed and continue to be oppressed, because we already are. We want women who don't know their power, so they're easier to control. And I want to create women to find, like you said, self-actualize or become a sovereign woman. And I want people to be afraid of the women that come through my coaching programs. I want people to realize that women are powerful. We have the ability to lead, because a lot of people say that a man leads and a woman must follow. I want people to realize that women have the ability to lead her own life and even lead others. That comes from me being in the military as a leader myself. I realized then that women could lead, not only just by me being a leader, but me coming across some phenomenal leaders while I was in the military. And I was like, wow, these women are phenomenal, and they're leading people into their best selves in regards to an Army career. And I was just like, I strive to be like that. And when I got out the Army, I said, you know what? I strive for women to lead in all industries, not just military, government, corporate, any industry that requires somebody to be a supervisor. I would like to see women, especially Black women, in supervisory roles.
So what do you think, because you mentioned that men in particular like to see women underneath their thumb, per se. Why is there a need, especially for Black women, to be silenced? What has come about that? Has Black women always been silent? And why is that?
I believe that male humans are similar to other male species. And I believe that the ones who want women controlled just have destructive behaviors. It's just a pathology of being a male, which is why a lot of males normally need to be redirected to something competitive in order to nurture that spirit of being destructive or aggressive in a sense. They need something to nurture that spirit. And some men, need women to submit to them to nurture that spirit. That's just what I believe.
Oh, So we chatted. I met her on social media not too long ago, probably in one of those imbecile groups where we take screenshots of men that seems to be very delusional when it comes to interacting with women, and we just kind of bonded from there. And so I guess my question would be then, because when I asked you earlier about moving from male worshiping to self worshiping, how do women first and foremost get into male worshiping?
Well, that has been ingrained in us since we were little girls. There was another sister named, and I'm gonna just call her KSC, who talked about the Cinderella detox. If you watch the movie Cinderella, the prince saved her from her family, which was a toxic environment for her. And a lot of women go into the world with toxic families and families who are very patriarchal and think and try to take away her voice, her autonomy, and they expect a man to come save them. It's ingrained in us since we little girls to look for a Prince Charming and hope that either a Prince Charming or some sort of white knight comes save us from distress. So I believe that that's where that comes from.
Now, are there any instances where a white knight does come? Or is it in particular for Black women, we are less likely to have a knight in shiny armor to come and rescue?
Um, what I want to say is, Prince Charming doesn't really exist. That's what I really want to say based on just me watching the male collective talk so hatefully about women and how there is a silence against, amongst the men who claim to be good men, but they do no advocacy work for women. I want to believe that there's no such thing as a white knight or a Prince Charming, but based on what women have told me, some women have had toxic families that they left and they have healthy relationships with men.
Okay, well, that's good to know. But I guess when it boils down to it, what you're advocating is at the end of the day, a woman needs to save herself.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not even a question. Have your own weapons, have your own belief system. I prefer for a woman to believe in a higher power that is feminine. Have your own belief system. Um, have your own money, most important, because you never know when your partner may switch up and you may have to leave. And a lot of women get stuck in situations because they don't have the money to leave. So have your own weapons, have your own belief system, have your own money. And most importantly, have some sort of asset like land. Have some land that you can build a home upon and have that home in your name, most important.
Okay, so say, for instance, there's a woman and maybe she's been dealt some of life's lower cards. Maybe she's on welfare. She has a lot of kids. She's fed up with going from man to man, depending on whichever the way the wind blows. How does she move from being dependent upon a man or how society supports her to being in a position of power? How does she do that?
The most important thing she needs to do is find herself a career or a business that can get her more money. At the end of the day, we live in a society that thrives off of whether you are wealthy or not. The wealthy have the power, and the non-wealthy are the disenfranchised and the oppressed. So the first thing she needs to do is figure out how she's going to get more money. Because if you are relying on a welfare system, that lack of wealth doesn't protect you. Wealth is protection at the end of the day. The more wealth you have, the more you're able to protect yourself and secure your financial freedom in the future. So the first thing I will say is she needs to find a way to get more money, and then she needs to find a place of her own. That's very important because a lot of women cohabitate with men, and she probably doesn't have enough income to live on her own if she wanted to. So she has to find a way to get financially sound to the point where she can take care of her own. Then, if that man were to do something that will cause the relationship to fail, she can move freely if she wants. Our elder grandmother said, most importantly, a woman's greatest protection is money of her own, period. And she needs to have her own money. She needs to have her own wealth outside of what the man has.
Okay. I don't disagree with that at all. I guess with you mentioning earlier back to how does a woman move from male identity to self-identity, and as she moved through that, how does she create blockers from being scrutinized or even name called by men who see that woman move from his confines?
Oh, that's a good question. The art of zero fucks given. Let me tell you something. I've been through hell. I've been through spiritual warfare that my doctors call psychosis. All kinds of demons attacking me, all kinds of dark truths pushed to my face. There used to be a time where I would wake up in the morning and I would be in a boardroom, sitting at the head of the table with people at the table chastising me every single day. That's how bad it got. And at first, it was me arguing back with them, trying to defend myself. And then after a while, it was just me saying, I don't give a damn what y'all say. I know who I am. I'm not going to let whatever is happening here force me to believe that I'm a bad person when I know that I'm not. I know my heart and I know how I moved in this life. When it comes to women trying to remove themselves from male worshiping and at the same time facing scrutiny from men, because women do it too, women scrutinize as well, facing scrutiny from people, she has to adopt a sense of zero fucks given and realize I'm doing what's best for myself outside of your approval. And I don't give a damn what you have to say about this. I think that that's what solidifies women as a grown woman is when she moves how she wants to move and don't care what anybody has to say about it. I think the first step in removing male worship is definitely just looking at men. Like the reason why I'm not male worshiping is because I have so many examples of men being very sexist and misogynistic. And when you realize that you need to remove yourself from the collective of them in regards to not having empathy for them or not valuing what they have to say about women because it's based on oppressive beliefs, then you have to say, okay, I see men for who they are, I know the nature of men, and I choose to say, as a woman, I'm going to choose myself and put myself first. And I'm gonna, if I'm gonna worship anybody, it's gonna be myself or my higher power, you know. And I'm not gonna worship a human male who is bound to make mistakes, or even a human male who is prone to be oppressive. So I believe what's going to separate her from the collective that scrutinizes her is just having that zero fucks given. It takes time to get there. I think that for me, it took time for me being beaten down so much where I said the only choice I had left is to just to not give a fuck, you know? I tried caring, I tried reasoning, I tried keeping the peace and it didn't work for me. I was continuously being scrutinized and I was continuously being attacked. And I said, you know what, Tanisha, you have to just let the insignificant actions of people not sway you from your peace of mind. And that's where I got to.
What do you say to men who are very big on preferences? You know, there is a narrative out there that woman has to look a certain way for a man to even care about what she thinks. What do you say about men who tend to ostracize women who, quote unquote, may not fit what they call the standards of beauty?
I know I don't fit the standards of beauty, and I've had men attack me for my looks when we would have debates about things that had nothing to do with a personal attack on either one of us. Um, I don't have nothing to say to those men. I just completely ignore them because I know that when I walk outside and I'm around my community, I have men shoot their shot at me. What they say online doesn't translate to what happens in real life. And I believe that that's just what we have to realize about social media. A lot of men say certain things, but what they say online doesn't translate to how they practice in real life. A lot of those men that talk about quote unquote big Shirleys and stuff in single mothers and women over 35, they would date those women because you know why? They want pussy, period. They want pussy and they'll get it from whoever's going to give it to them. And not only that, but men not wanting to be married is this belief that women wants to take half of their fortune, but the men complaining about it the most don't have no fortune. So it's like, you know, I don't take anything that they say seriously because how many men have cussed a woman out on a post and then get her DMs and try to reason with her about her post and then try to shoot his shot? Like, these men are fraudulent, period.
So why is that? Why are they misogynistic, vitriol online, but behind closed door, they try to cultivate relationships with the same women that they publicly, might as well say they publicly slander? Why? Do you know why or what contributes to men having that attitude?
One thing I can say about the nature of men is their nature is their desire. I won't even know if I say it's their nature. I would say their desire to dominate and control and destroy. You know, they come up with the whole concept of seek and destroy. They understand war games and they understand war strategies. So when a woman is confident in herself and she is not the kind of woman that man wants, that man might seek to want to destroy her in some way. A lot of men feel like if I was to get with this woman and I was to tear her down bit by bit, I will eventually get her to do what I want. And they automatically think that expressing publicly the woman that they don't want would make a woman think less about herself. And when they see women who think a lot about themselves, despite men saying that they have no desire for her, they want to humble her. It's a game to them to try to humble women. So they try to get close to these women. I don't think their intentions are genuine, but it's like they want to get close to these women to try to humble her and break her down and make her feel bad about herself. And I think a lot of this root cause is because these are coming from undesirable men of high honor and men of a certain attractiveness do not behave like this on social media. Every man that I see that talk about not wanting to date certain kinds of women are men who are unattractive and broke. So these men do not really have anything to offer a woman, and they feel like the only way they can get it with a woman is to break her down and make her feel less about herself. So that's pretty much why they try to get close to these women, because they think they're easy targets. Um, Men as a collective have made it a point to really express so much hatred and anger and undesirability of certain kind of women. And these women are taking note because we're very heavily on social media. And they're hoping that whatever the collective of men are saying about these women is influencing these women in some kind of way. So they'll argue with her publicly to say, oh, you're not this, you're not this, you're not this, you're not desirable, no man wants you. And then they'll get in her inbox to try to get close to her because they want to destroy her as much as possible. Even if he doesn't really want her, he wants to be able to, help out his brother and send her to the next man, submissive and docile and thinking less of herself.
Wow. I mean, you really said a mouthful. While you were talking, I was just sitting there thinking, how would society evolve if women, as you said, took on the attitude of, I don't care anymore? What would that look like? Do you think that would force men to become better, or do you think that would increase their tactics of becoming more violent toward women?
I see it both ways because I don't believe that men are a monolith. I believe different men will respond to this in a different way. I believe that some men will say, you know what, I can't break her down. I might as well accept her as she is. And then you'll have some men who will become very violent, as we see nowadays with the issue of Black femicide. We'll see some men become very violent towards her because his ego can't handle the fact that he is not that powerful to be able to destroy a woman who is supposed to be an easy target. So the men who will submit, I hate to use that word, but I'll use it, submit to a woman who is confident and stands in her own sovereignty and has autonomy over herself. I guess a lot of men will call them simps or beta males, but there are men out there who are, who want this dream woman who looks nothing like the woman that he has presently. And it's because he was sucked in by her confidence. And I also believe in energy, and that energy has a very powerful pull and tug and pull on people. So her energy is infectious because she is confident in herself. She is powerful. One thing I realize about men is they are attracted to power, whether it's a man or a woman. Now, some men want to submit to that power, and some men want to try to destroy that power. It just depends on what kind of man you get.
Okay, so you mentioned a lot of women evolving into what we would call ultimate happiness. What are some of the steps? So we talked about not caring what men or women think. You also talk about weaponizing with finances, and even weaponry to protect herself, because of course we have a high femicide rate. What are some steps that she can take behind closed doors? So we mentioned everything out in the open, but what can she do behind closed doors?
If you want to talk about ultimate happiness, I think it starts with self-belief. Belief in yourself that you can accomplish anything that you want. And I believe that happiness is a product of believing in your own power. That's just what I've learned. Every time I was happy, it was either I had belief in my own power or I surrendered to my higher power and allowed my higher power to work miracles in my life. Let me give an example. Back in 2018, I took 2 semesters off of school, and school was one of my avenues for me to get income. So when I took 2 semesters off of school, I did not get that extra income, and I was relying strictly on my VA disability, which at that time was much lower than what I get now. And I didn't know how I was going to survive, but I told myself, I said, I believe that my higher power will provide for me and put me around people who will support me on this journey. And that's exactly what it did. And I learned the power of budgeting and living below my means. And my mom was a major support for me, which I've never experienced that type of support from her ever in my life. But she supported me in my journey, and I did not have to worry about how I was going to eat. Or my mom put a down payment on a new car for me when my other car died. I would say when my other car died. And I relied on my higher power to provide all my needs, and that's what happened. And I will even say this second time around, when it comes to believing in myself, my higher power gave me 100% disability from the VA. So at this time, and from the time I got it, I didn't have to worry about money or my bills, because it was covered by what I was getting from the VA. And I prayed for it. Not because I just wanted it, but because I needed it, because I was going through spiritual warfare, and it was manifesting as psychosis that was persistent every single day. And it took a long time for me to get there, but I got there. And I was provided to say it in a time where I was like, I see this vision for myself of being a boss, but I need to focus on taking care of my mental health and getting to a place where I can actually life coach and coach other people. And having my VA disability gives me the time to really focus on myself and get me right, as well as plot and plan for my businesses where I don't have to go to work full time. And the second part of my happiness came from me believing in myself. The second part of my happiness came from me believing in myself, believing that whatever my dreams are, I can make them come true. I have the intelligence, I have the confidence, I have the ability and the capabilities to do what I need to do for myself. So I was just talking to a sister earlier who was saying that she wanted to give up on life, and I was like, girl, you have to try to envision yourself in a happy place and believe that you can get there. You have to believe that you can be happy, because so much of the world is, and it was the goddess Ma'at, which is an Egyptian goddess, of justice and truth. I was told that the Egyptian goddess Ma'at, her 42 laws, were a catalyst for the 10 Commandments in the Bible. And when I realized that a lot of male religions took from the Egyptian mythology, which is not really matriarchal, is more egalitarian, because there are male and female gods in Egyptian religion. But the fact that they incorporated the feminine into divinity was something that attracted me. And then I just went on that journey to discover all the goddesses, from the Egyptian goddesses to the Yoruba goddesses, to the Indian goddesses, to Chinese goddesses, to the Mesopotamia goddesses. Even Greek goddesses, I forgot about them. So it's like I just studied them, and the first thing I did was figure out which one resonated with me. When you are trying to resonate with a goddess, first you have to realize what goddess speaks to me and who I am. You know, you'll feel it. You'll feel it when you read up on a goddess and you're just sitting here saying, "Oh, I like this goddess." You know, we have to trust our intuition more to realize that our spirit will resonate with just certain things, and our spirit won't resonate with other things, you know? And I found a few goddesses that resonated with me, and I set up an altar for them. I believe in revenants of uh spirits and deities through having an altar presented for them and worshiping them at my altar. That's how I connected to my feminine goddess. My feminine goddess was my aunt, Oya, um, Lakshmi from the Hindu goddess, the Hinduism spiritual system, um, Kali Ma. Those were the goddesses that resonated with me at that time because I was full of rage and I wanted money. So I found a goddess of wealth and I found goddesses who I felt like channeled my rage. It's about channeling your energy with whatever goddess resonates with you. There's if you research a goddess, there'll be so much information on them, and you'll get to know them personally in your research to know what they represent and whatever resonates with you and identifies with you, that's who you choose.
Makes sense. So you mentioned setting up an altar, researching different goddesses that you resonate with, and then setting up an altar to channel that goddess's energy. And then before then, you mentioned that you were undergoing a spiritual warfare that was diagnosed as psychosis. My question then would be a woman who's similarly undergoing a spiritual warfare. How does she know that she's tapping into a higher energy and not that of an energy that may mask itself as that of a higher energy? Because she's vulnerable at that time. So if she's channeling energy, there's a, because we know that demons have an ability to mask itself and to portray itself as something that could be a piece. How does one protect itself not to channel the wrong energy or energy that may mask itself as that of a higher power, but it's not?
What I will say is this: when I was going through spiritual warfare, I was being raped. My body was being touched. I remember waking up in the middle of the night and something was pressing against my skull, and I knew I had to be a spirit because I felt like it was touching my brain. It was like that deep. Those dark spirits do not hide themselves. Those dark spirits make themselves known to be dark spirits. So I knew I was dealing with dark spirits because of the pain they were inflicting on my body, because of the words they were saying in my ears. They really weren't trying to max themselves. So when you're going through what I've gone through and what I see other people going through when it comes to spiritual warfare is they are dealing with demons or darker spirits that present themselves just as that. I stopped calling on my higher power because I don't know why. I just stopped. I just stopped lighting my candles. I stopped putting out offerings. I got very lazy in my spirituality, which is probably why my spiritual warfare lasted much longer. And when I did start, I actually lit candles for the ancestors because I was told by elders that it's up to the ancestors to actually battle those darker spirits and those demonic spirits. So by the time I started lighting candles for the ancestors, I really wasn't experiencing spiritual warfare. So I just believe that I don't know. I have several theories about the darker spirits because I also believe you have a darker spirit that is attached to your body since birth that works against you or sometimes work on your behalf if you were to command it right. So it's a lot of ways to look at that. But as far as spiritual warfare is concerned, whatever was attacking me wasn't trying to present itself as a good thing at all. It showed up as something very demonic and evil.
Okay. So you mentioned you had a prayer, a I don't know if you feel comfortable with sharing a prayer that a woman can take that may be experiencing similar things, but how does she put together, or do you have an example of a prayer that she can take with herself from this interview?
If I have about 2 to 3 minutes, I can read you a prayer that I recite on the full moon, which the full moon is when you actually pray for protection.
And you do this each month?
I'm not, like I said, I'm very spiritually lazy sometimes.
Y'all get there.
Some months I do it, some months I don't. Just depends on how I feel. But I did it this month, and this is the prayer that I read this month.
Okay.
I, Tanisha Coleman, daughter of Dana, ask for protection from spells, harm, or destruction from the following individuals. And I listed certain individuals that were revealed to me in my dreams as speaking curses over me. May any plans my haters and enemies have to destroy me fail, and their curses be returned to them. There will be no reconciliation with them or any contact between us. I ask for protection from anyone currently in my life or who desire to enter my life that means to cause me harm mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and financially. May any plans they have to destroy me fail and be returned to them. I ask for the protection from self-sabotage. If I am caught in the middle of self-sabotage, release me from his clutches and steer me in the right direction. I ask for protection from the devil and his advocates. May any plans they have to destroy me fail. I ask for protection of my sisters shackled to the systems of patriarchy and patriarchy. Release us from all oppressive systems. Release us from toxic relationships with family, friends, and fuckboys. Release us all from self-destruction. Guide us all on a journey of comfort, ease, luxury, and prosperity. May we all be shielded from harm and destruction. May we know peace as well as become skilled at war. May your light shield us from the demons of the spirit and others. May your sword become our words to defeat our enemies. May our truth outshine the lies and deception. May the foul intent of others be revealed and removed. May the gossip and slander to our name cease, and may our reputations be protected. May me and my sisters become happier, healthier, and wealthier until our days on earth expires. May any blockages to our ancestral blessings and abundance be removed. May we know love, peace, and happiness. I thank you, Spirit and ancestors, for your continued protection and love. Thanks for being my strength, my shield, and my comfort. May I do your will and remain devoted to you on the path to abundance. Ashe.
Now, was there a prayer that you came across, or is there something that came to you?
It just spoke to my spirit.
Wow.
When you go through years of spiritual warfare, you know exactly what to pray for. You know exactly what to pray for because there's so many things revealed to you during it. It's not just attacks. It's like you get revealed certain truths about yourself and the world around you that it's thrown in your face. And that part might not be spiritual warfare. I mean, it could have been also for my Saturn return or the dark night of the soul or the mirror work that I was doing, saying, look at your darker side, your shadow side. So I just, and not only that, but being a soldier in my life had just forced me in a way to learn how to use my words as weapons.
I really thank you for sharing something as personal as a prayer that you say to increase protection around yourself in your life. And so we went over moving from male worshiping to self-worshiping. We went over ultimate happiness, some of the steps that women can take to gain ultimate happiness. We also talked about exploring the possibility of diving into femininity, godliness. And you shared a personal prayer that you even say to yourself around full moon. to help channel the energy of that feminine goddess. Now, I would love to kind of wrap up around goal setting. What does that look like for a woman that's now she's happier? Now she's healthier spiritually. Now, how does she, because wisdom is applying the knowledge that you learn. So, how does she apply now that she's happier, now that she's healthier? How does she apply that to being wealthier?
The wealthier part I'm still working on because I'm in a business and I am still in the beginning stages of my business, so I haven't built clientele yet. Right now I am mostly living off of my disability. I've gotten some clients over the last few months and gotten a little bit of income, but I will say this, I do budget and I live well below my means, and I'm able to save a lot of money a month. I'm able to invest money every single month for my future, which I'm trying to retire by 55. So I'm able to live below my means, budget, cook for myself every day, because when as a financial coach, when I'm coaching people, their number one issue is eating out too much. And that eats up a lot of their money. But you're like, yeah, me too. But yeah, I cook for myself twice a week. I'll cook meal on Sunday and it'll last till about Wednesday or Thursday. Then I cook a meal on Thursday that lasts until Saturday.
Okay.
And that's just how I've been saving my money and managing my finances. The only thing that I really invest myself into is my spirituality. Like, I've been working on trying to practice better spiritual hygiene for the last 2 months. So I buy my candles, I buy my oils and my herbs and my spiritual baths. So that's the only thing in my budget that really takes any sort of money out of what I would normally spend, is keeping up with my spiritual hygiene. And I truly, and look, let me tell you something. I did a ritual on the new moon to remove blockages. I said that same prayer I just read to you. And I've had several people send me Cash App just out the blue because of the work that I do on social media, my social justice advocacy. I've had people I had somebody give me an opportunity to do a financial boot camp. It's a paid opportunity to do a financial boot camp over the summer for teenagers. And then of course I have you, who is getting my information out there to the masses. And it's like these opportunities are pouring into me because I pray for those blockages to be removed. So when I would say when it comes to goal setting, you have to speak it. You have to speak out loud what it is that you want first. You have to declare it. I will have this. I will have that. I want this. I want that. You have to, just like God, first of all, we are all gods. It's even in the Bible. We are all in Psalms 82:6. Ye are gods, you are children of the Most High. And in the beginning of the Bible, God said, let there be light, and spoken command creation into existence. And I believe that as human beings, especially as women, we have the power to speak creation into existence. We have the power to manifest what we want into existence. So first I speak it out. I might write it out first and then speak it out, but it's going to be spoken. It's going to be spoken out loud. And I am going to light a candle with some herbs on it when the universe has a charge of energy that calls for manifestation. So that's what I do for my goal setting. When it comes to the action steps, it just really comes to just being motivated enough to do it. And again, like I was saying, with happiness, having the self-belief that it is yours. And for me, the reason why I believe in my goals and dreams so much is because I've seen it pictured in my head in visions over and over again for the last few years, the same visions over and over again of me being in this corner office in a company that I am running, like the CEO of. I have seen myself in the boardrooms hosting board meetings and such like that over and over again. And it was so implanted in my mind where I said, this is where my life is going to be, and I am going to get there. And then another thing about goal setting is you can't manifest your dreams and your goals alone, especially if you want to be a business owner, right? You have to surround yourself around the right people who are going to help you get there, period. You have to read the right books, attend the right courses, and surround yourself around the right people who are going to help you get there, period. And one thing I like, I work for a company called Primerica, and one thing I like about Primerica is the people here are very business minded. They're very motivational, inspirational, and they're very driven to get well. And that's all we talk about when we have trainings or meetings. So I'm surrounded by people who are in the same objective as me. So when it comes to goal setting, that's what it's about. It's about speaking out loud, declaring out loud what it is that you want, writing it down on paper. What else did I say? Self-belief and envisioning what you want to become or what you want in your life. Surrounding yourself by the right people and reading the right books and taking the right courses to help you get there, because information from people who are where you're at is within reach. There are plenty of people out there who made it and are reaching back trying to help other people make it. And when you surround yourself around those people, you realize there is not that much difference between that person and you. If you really believe in yourself, it really comes down to self-belief. If you really believe in yourself and say, I am an intelligent person, I am capable, I'm smart, I am brilliant, just as capable and able and brilliant and intelligent as the next person, then when you see somebody else do it, you don't think that is too far from you. So that's how I feel about the goal setting.
So what I've learned from speaking with you, that overcoming issues in your relationships with the opposite sex, overcoming blockages when it may come with manifestation, when it may come in tapping into spirituality, where it may come into currency, it all deals with self. So at the end of the day, all roads lead back to you.
Absolutely. Even when I was going through spiritual warfare, I was checking myself. I was going through my own transformation as I'm being attacked by these dark entities. I realized that because these entities came after my sister was murdered, right? So I was full of rage and I was in straight up victim mode. And I was overlooking my own darkness within myself. So and at the same time, I was going through a Saturn return, which I don't know if you know about that, but a Saturn return is kind of where you uncover your dark truth and your shadow side, and you try to reconcile with that. So I'm going through all of this while I'm being attacked by these, I call them demons. So even as I am going through spiritual warfare, I'm trying to grow as a person. I still looked at myself and say, like, even when I was waking up in the boardroom and I would see people chastise me, I was like, am I really like that? You know? And for a lot of it, I really was. It was like I was being like who I was as a person in a negative sense was being thrown in my face. And I had to figure out whether I was going to deal with that or whether I was just going to accept it and move on, you know? So it really all started with me really transforming myself and getting back to myself and really getting to know who I am as a person. And all of this, and which is why I can sit here and talk about it like it was nothing, even though during it, it was straight torture. And all of this, I just learned more about myself and fell in love with me. And I also believe that that's why I've been manifesting so much better nowadays than I was before because I fell in love with me. My self-love energy is penetrating the universe. And I'm sending out that frequency and that is being returned to me. So it really all starts with self. Even when it comes to the men, I've had 3 men put their hands on me. I had a man who was very mentally and emotionally abusive. Every man that I've dealt with did not see something with me long term. And I had to feel like I was much more than that because after dealing with that, I felt worthless. I felt like I was just meant to be used and discarded, you know? And that was back in like 2012. I was like 25 when I was going through all of that. So it was like I had to go on the journey of just getting to know me. It's all about me. And for anybody else, they have to realize it's all about you. It's all about you and what you got to do for your journey in your life and how you feel about yourself. Then what anybody else say, that's why I said zero fucks given, because people will try to make you feel low about themselves. Because not just men, but women too thrive off the ability to try to control other people and make people feel worse about themselves so they can feel better about themselves. That's the kind of hell of the world that we live in, you know? And it really comes down to, how do I feel about myself? What do I want for myself? What am I going to go out there and get for myself? How am I going to treat myself today? It really comes down to that. And when you get to a good relationship with yourself, the universe, I believe, responds to you favorably and wants to work in your behalf. You know why? Because everything that you get, you will not sabotage it. Because you have such a high love of yourself, you're saying, I'm going to get this and I'm going to keep it for as long as I can.
I receive and declare everything that you just said, because you're right. Everything does start with you and falling in love with you. That's been a big deal for me, learning how to love myself all over again. I think it's beautiful when women understand the power and embrace the power that they have. What a world it will become when all women collectively embrace loving themselves, no matter who don't love them, no matter who doesn't choose them, because you choose you. And at the end of the day, we all die alone. Because I tell you, there's a lot of women that get online. That's why your bed empty. That's okay. Your casket empty too when you go. So it doesn't matter who you marry or who you're with. You're going to leave this earth by yourself, and you need to leave this earth happy with the decisions that you made and the accomplishments that you've accomplished. So Tanisha, is there anything else that you would like to express? Anything about your business? Anything that you would like people to tap into where they can connect with you? Maybe they want one-on-one consultations with you. I'm going to give you the floor for that.
I don't have much to say about that. Follow me at Tanisha Coleman. My Facebook link is facebook.com/Tanisha.Coleman. That's the easy way to find me because there's so many Tanisha Colemans out there. But I was the first one, okay? So Tanisha.Coleman on Facebook. All of my business info I have on a pinned post about my financial coaching. I post every day about my spiritual coaching, I call it soul coaching business. Just go follow my page and get poured into, because that's the main that's the main thing. We need to get poured into. And that's what I do every day on my post. I just pour into Black women as much as I can. So it's about coming to my page to get your cup full, because I'm going to pour into. Come to my page to learn about the game, because I'm going to talk about the game being played against women. Come to my page to find empowerment, because I'm going to speak power into you, period. So just come to my page. If you're interested in one-on-one spiritual coaching, you can go to thesisterscoach.com, and that is sisters with a AH, thesisterscoach.com. And like I said, just kind of my Facebook page and get poured into. I would love to engage with anybody who is serious about the empowerment of Black women and girls, period. So if you become my Facebook friend, I will definitely embrace you if you are on the same mission as I am.
All right, everyone. Well, I really appreciate Tanisha for taking her time out to pour into me and into my viewers as well, because I've learned a lot from her and I really embraced her like a sister as well. Thank you all for tuning into, again, another episode of The Pretty Woman Speaks, also known as Amythe7th. Tune in again for next Monday for another episode and another evolving or what else that you can learn about becoming a better and happier you. Thank you all and talk to y'all later.